Hello and welcome back to Own Your Peace. I'm your host, Andie Thueson, and I'm excited to dive into Aquarius season because Aquarius season hits different. We just got through Capricorn season, which is all about building foundations. It's about building stability. It's about going slow and calculated and building a life that's built on legacy and the long term. As we move into Aquarius season, there's a shift, and it's a really significant shift, and it comes at the right time. And I know I say this every month as we move through the different astrological months, but everything builds on each other, and we learn so much through each of these different sectors of the year, these different energies of the year. And when we move into Aquarius season, it is about pattern disruption. It's about challenging our norms, looking at things in a different way. This is not a feel better season. It's a wake up season. It's a wake up call. We're moving beyond the stability and structure of Capricorn into perspective, choice, and agency of Aquarius. Aquarius asks a very specific question of us. It asks, where are we still waiting for permission? That's such a beautiful question as we move into a new year, a new energy of where are we still waiting for a permission slip? Where are we still putting our personal agency outside of ourselves? Aquarius season invites us to detach from what we've been told to do and helps us really connect with who we actually are, which are all highlights of what I chat about here on Own Your Peace. Let's move beyond the typical Aquarius stereotype, that archetype that they get labeled with all the time. And they often get called, you look at your Aquarius friends and you can see a little bit of this. They are stereotypes for a reason. There's this, they're often referred to as cold or rebellious, detached for no reason. They're the observers of consciousness. They're ruled by Saturn, which is responsibility, and Uranus, however you want to pronounce it, that of liberation. So true Aquarian energy really is freedom that comes from self-trust. It's a fixed air sign. So they are very fixed in the way they see the world. They're an air sign, so they're very intellectual. So Aquarians are very smart. And they see the world in a little bit more fixed way and the way that they move through the world. So, a lot of times, I think that's where a lot of these stereotypes come from, that detachedness, that intellectualism, that all stems from these things. This is a key reframe here. This is an energy of leading from your own mind instead of reacting to the crowd. That is the true energy of a really embodied Aquarian. And I love seeing them stand and seeing the world in their own way, trusting their own mind, trusting their own way of seeing the world, and leading from that direction. So let's move into where people stall and the shadow of Aquarius energy. These are some of the pitfalls that we may fall into during this season of our lives. Overthinking instead of deciding. Again, this is a very mentally driven sign. So it is a tendency to overthink without taking action. Another thing here is staying detached to avoid risk. Again, as a very Aquarian thing, they do tend to detach from things emotionally to avoid risk. And one of my best friends, she and I were talking about the work that I do, and she's like, well, do people cry? And I'm like, yeah, people cry when they meet with me and they interact with me. And she just was like, oh my goodness, I don't know if I can handle that. And that was like probably the most Aquarian, stereotypical Aquarian statement to deal with this because they are a little bit more detached from the world. I'm not saying that they're not emotional, but there is this ability to separate the two and see things in a very intellectual way and from a very much this is the way it is and taking the emotion out of it to make the decision. So think about that this season as you're navigating this energy. There is this detachment. Are you detaching to see a level headed view of things? Are you detaching from things to avoid risk? Very important differentiation there. Watching life instead of participating. Again, they are the great observers of consciousness, of the collective. So are you just sitting on the sidelines, not living your own life and feeling detached from it? Another kind of shadow here is waiting for clarity before action. Again, because this is such a mentally driven sign, there is this tendency to want everything to be in place, to have everything lined up, to have the outline prepared before taking action. And we know that when we take action, the steps follow. That's the way the universe moves. It rewards action. It rewards taking that first step. This is what playing small looks like when it's dressed up as being thoughtful. When we're so worried about having a plan that we keep shrinking ourselves from actually moving the needle forward and taking those first guided steps. So the Aquarius shadow isn't rebellion like most people think. Actually, rebellion is what makes them so special. It's what makes us rebel in an area of our lives. It's a wonderful thing to be rebellious because we rebel about the shoulds. We rebel against what no longer is working for us just because it's been done at the same way a million years or even a few years. It's time to reassess what's actually working and what's not working for us. And it's a time to rebel against those things. It is not hesitation. It is not sitting on the sidelines of our own lives, waiting for life to happen for us. Okay. So let's get into the invitation, the upgrades available to us because of Aquarius season. This is where we shift from awareness to self-agency. Aquarian season invites us into self-leadership over approval. This is where we become the leaders in our own lives. This is where we take fearless, rebellious action to move the needle in our dreams and what we're creating for ourselves. This is choosing our values and our integrity and what matters to us over societal conditioning. This is huge. This is such a great time to pivot in our lives. And this is about acting before certainty arrives. This is a big one. This is designing our lives intentionally to craft and create and imagine more for ourselves. This is so important when we think about this. This season isn't asking you to burn down your life. That was Scorpio season. It's asking you to choose yourself more honestly, more bravely, more rebelliously. Okay, let's talk about how Aquarius season shows up for us practically. How do we see this in our day-to-day lives? How can we use this energy of rebellion, of plot twists, of really seeing things from a zoomed out, detached way in a way that can help us level up? Because that's always what we're trying to do, right? We're always trying to move into a more evolved version of ourselves and really step out of playing it small, playing it safe. So let's talk about some common themes that you may be feeling during this beautiful Aquarian season. Restlessness or boredom with old routines, wanting to break free from what feels restrictive, what feels small for us. A desire to change our systems, our schedules, our environments to, again, there's this echo of rebellion throughout everything we're talking about today. Where are you feeling like you're feeling constrained or feeling like you're being shoved into a box that you're ready to break free from? That is such Aquarian energy. It's time to bust out of that. And these are some things that might be calling you to put a little attention on to them this time of year. There's a strong urge to redefine your identity or direction. The way that you're presenting your business, is it working for you? Is the way that you're presenting yourself in the workplace, is that working for you? The way that you're living your life, is it working for you? Are you feeling the expansiveness that's available to you right now, especially as we're moving into this year one and moving into the year of the horse? There is this antsiness, this expansive energy that we're being called to step into. And with Aquarian energy on the cusp of this, new year that we're calling in, so there's this mental clarity that's paired with impatience that's coming in for us right now. It's showing us very clearly our mind is kind of open in a way that it hasn't for a little bit. And it's showing us where we're ready to break free. Mercury in Aquarius, which also moved today with the sun, is opening up an expansive mental energy for us, where we're going to see what's been holding us back. We're going to see where we're feeling that restriction, where we're ready to rebel. So those are some things that are going to be kind of in the ethers, the energy right now for us to work with on that practical level. If things feel obvious, but you're still hesitating, that's Aquarius energy working. Okay, let's talk about how Aquarius season activates your chart. Okay, we talk about this every month. Each sign rules an area of our lives. So, based on your rising sign, and if you don't know that, you can go to AstroSeek or astro.com and run your chart, and it will tell you what your ascendant is or your rising. They mean one and the same. And that really sets the tone for your entire chart and really tells you where Aquarian energy is really the strongest for you and also what's getting activated this month for you. So every single one of us is going to have something activating a little bit differently for us. And it's going to ask us to be a little bit more rebellious in this area of our lives. There's going to be this, let's break the rules and burn things down differently in these areas of our lives. And with the sun being here, it just highlights this area of our lives even more so. Okay. Aries rising, 11th house is activated for you. So this is a focus on community, collaboration, your visibility, stop shrinking to belong. And a great question for you is, where am I meant to step forward instead of staying on the sidelines of my life? All right, Taurus rising, your 10th house is being activated. So this for you is a focus on leadership, career, and public identity. It's about redefining success and on your own terms. Again, this is where we rebel. The question for you is, what version of success am I ready to outgrow? Now, moving on to my Gemini risings, Aquarius rules your 9th house. So this is about beliefs, truth, and expansion, living what you already know. The question for you is, what truth do I know, but I haven't fully lived yet? Oof, I love that one for you. Okay. For my Cancer risings, your 8th house is being activated. So the focus for you will be about power dynamics, intimacy, money, and control. So letting go of emotional entanglements. Where am I holding on out of fear instead of trust? Because again, this is like a power dynamics and control can look a little bit like trying to control a situation and not letting go and trusting. So keep that in mind. All right, Leo rising, your 7th house is being activated. So this again is a focus on relationships and boundaries. And we've talked about this in the past on other episodes. 7th house is not just romantic relationships, it's all ships. It's friendships, it's partnerships, it's all the ships in the 7th house. This will be a focus for you on mutual respect over giving. The question for you is, where am I giving my power away to keep the peace? Very important. So my Virgo risings, your 6th house is ruled by Aquarius. So for you, it's a focus on your routines, your systems, your energy management, your day-to-day, working with your energy. A question for you is, what habits no longer support the life I want to lead? Looking at that routine is so important for you this month. All right, Libra rising is your 5th house. This is a focus on creativity, joy, expression, taking up space unapologetically, allowing yourself to shine and have a good time and really embody that version of you. Question for you is, where have I been editing myself to be more palatable? So important for that. Okay, for my Scorpio risings, your 4th house is being activated. So this focus for you will be home, safety, emotional foundations, redefining security, both internally and externally within the home for you. A question is, what needs to change so I can feel at home in my life again? All right, my fellow Sag risings, our 3rd house is being activated. So there is this big focus on our communication, our voice, and our truth. So saying what you've been holding back. What's the message that you feel so deeply in your bones that needs to be said? So what truth am I ready to say out loud? I'm thinking on this one myself too. Okay. Now for my Capricorn risings, the second house is being activated for you. So this is a focus for you on self-worth, money, values, choosing things that are aligned with your values. Question for you is, what choice would honor my value and my worth more fully? Aquarius rising is your first house. So, this is a focus for you on identity, visibility, embodiment, being seen without explanation. Again, it's all about you, boo, when it's your month. Who am I ready to be more openly? What versions of you have felt constrained and you're ready to step into? Last but definitely not least, my Pisces rising, your 12th house is being activated. So for you, the focus is really on release, rest, and integration. Question for you to really kind of sink your teeth into and focus on, because this is a lot of the subconscious at play here with the 12th house, is what am I ready to let go of before my next chapter begins? Let's kind of bridge here a little bit. So Aquarius energy with human design, which is my specialty. This is a really great time because Aquarius season mirrors humans' design's most core question, which is, how do I make decisions that are actually mine? How do I become a little bit more self-sovereign during this season? And that's exactly what human design does. It gives us a strategy, it gives us an authority, it gives us an energetic blueprint for us to move through the world, making the most aligned decisions, using our energy in the most aligned way so that we can always come back to self and come back to self-sovereignty, and we become self-leaders in our own life. So this is a beautiful, powerful season for strategy awareness, for authority trust, and really deconditioning from shoulds. This is a season for practicing self-trust, not just learning about it. This is the time that we embody it. And I love this as the cusp as we move into the year of the horse, which is that embodiment energy that we're riding the thing, we're taking off, we're going. The Aquarian energy is where we break free. It's where we set ourselves free from the constraints of shoulds, of societal conditioning, and where we're asked to truly step into being the highest, most evolved versions of ourselves. And that really starts with rebellion, rebelling against what feels constraining, what feels tight, what feels like we're not allowing ourselves to lead. What's keeping us small? What's keeping us from being that version of us we feel so deeply in our bones? Let's talk a little bit more about self-leadership practices for Aquarius season. Okay, so these are some embodiment practices that you can work with. I want you to choose just one or two that really resonates with you to take into Aquarian season. A decision audit. Where are you deferring making a decision or a choice that needs to be made right now? Okay, I want you to pick one bold, non-negotiable choice for this month. What's one? The line in the sand has been made. I am making this choice. I'm not going back. What are you doing differently this month? And I want it to be bold. I want you to get outside of your comfort zone and really embody this bold choice that you're making for yourself. It's deciding, I'm done with this. I'm ready for different. And it's in the small moments, these micro decisions on a day-to-day basis that help us take back our sovereignty, raising a standard for ourselves. Okay, moving on. Observe where clarity follows action. So clarity is not going to come until we take that next step. I talk a lot about this in my sessions. Following your strategy, taking a step, and then the next step appears. Clarity comes after action. I want you to really ask this. Again, pick one that works, leave the rest. What would self-leadership look like here? What would self-leadership look like for you this month? How can you step into owning your own energy, owning your own magic, really leading from a place of self-sovereignty and not listening to the noise that surrounds you? If one thing I know, and I talk about the hills I'll die on all the time, but one hill I will die on is coming home to yourself acting in alignment with your true self, trusting your knowings, even though the noise outside of you may be saying something different. Most important thing you can do is trust yourself, and everything else will just kind of fall into place for you. As we wrap up this episode where we've talked a lot about rebellion, we've talked a lot about where are we feeling constrained? Where are we holding ourselves back? Where are we playing small? This is a time to bust out of those boxes. And remember, clarity doesn't come before action, it comes because of it. And a really important Aquarius reminder right now is you don't need permission. You don't need consensus. You need a decision you can stand behind. And only you can come up with that. You can ask a guide, you can ask a coach. There's lots of ways to get support, but at the end of the day, it's on you. You are the master of your own life. Trust that. If Aquarius season is really stirring something in you, trust that. This is the type of work that we do within Ignite Your Type. It's moving from sitting on the sidelines of your own life and really stepping into self-leadership. It is a embodiment of really owning your own energy, knowing how to work with it, knowing how to lead from it more than anything, and really becoming the leader of your own experience. I hope this episode really opened your heart, opened your mind to seeing things a little bit different this season. I always like to say, this is kind of a funny thing that I always say about Aquarian energy. It's like they just kind of wandered onto this planet. They have this really unique energy about them. Aquarian energy is where we kind of stand out. And so this is a perfect time to rage against the machine, if you will, kind of going back to the 90s there, and really challenge the status quo. Aquarian energy is rebellion, but it's rebelling with a cause. It's going against what's no longer working for us and really sinking our teeth into something that means something to us, whether that be on an individual level or a collective level. Aquarian energy is very collective energy, and we're going to see this continuing themes as we have more energy in Aquarian this month, where we're being called to, as a collective, to establish more freedom, more rights, more autonomy. That starts with ourselves, allowing ourselves to be the leader in our own lives and bring power back to our own selves, and really allowing ourselves to own our own energy, own our own power, and to stop outsourcing it. That's one of the clear things that we're going to see as Neptune moves out of Pisces into Aries. There is going to be this emphasis on self-leadership, more emphasis on taking the blinders off, taking off where we've been really disillusioned by those in power and those outside of ourselves. This is really a call to arms, a call to taking our power back and really standing in self-leadership like we have never done before. I'm so excited for this time. I'm so excited for this next month to see how you choose to rebel in the most beautiful ways that's so serving to you, that feels like you're putting on the most perfect pair of jeans. Much love till I see you next week.